hero.
Have you any hobbies?
My hobbies are fast cars and fast women.
Hobbies are healthy. They teach you things. Are you ready? Are you ready?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Around the UFL. James Larson here with Pro Football Newsroom. Back in the host seat. Unfortunately, we had a couple of last-second bailouts, but it's all right. We're still here, getting back to it. And we've got a full panel today, 4 guests. And that is not Zach Kellerman. That is the legendary John Lewis, who's also got probably about 100,000 balls behind him. Balls to the wall. John, how you doing today, my man?
Balls to the wall. I'm good. Thanks for having me on, guys. Long time, first time here.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of felt like it's long overdue with you because I've been on your show a few times over there on John Lewis Sports, but it's about time we got you on ATU. And Abdul, you're coming at us right away. No robes. How dare you? I'm sorry. We couldn't get sponsored robes for this episode of ATU. But I'm going to pass the mic over to Ducky really quick. Ducky, how you been, man? It's been a little while.
Good. It has been a while. I'm glad to be back.
I love that we're both repping the Memphis Showboats today.
Yeah, go Memphis.
I feel like we've worn more Showboats gear combined on this show than there were fans in attendance this past season.
That's not hard to top.
I mean, just this show right here pretty much does that.
Jake, you made it. You're repping the Atlanta Legends,
I did.
not the Michigan Panthers. How's it going?
I mean, it's going as good as anyone, can expect being in the state of Michigan with the last the week, the way a couple games have gone. But, I guess get some of that frustration out and talking about some UFL.
Yeah.
Because, I got some opinions.
I think we all do. I mean, it's been an interesting month or so. We haven't had a lot of news come down the pipeline since our last episode where we talked about general managers being out. But the one I really want to jump into quick before we get into the big news about the coaches is Darryl Johnson. He is no longer a part of the United Football League. They chose not to renew his contract for 2026. They made an announcement, I think it was November 12th. And, it's going to feel weird to not have Darryl Johnson involved in spring football, just given his background in the AAF and then the XFL and then the USFL, just to have the role that he did, and then through the merger, I mean, Daryl was just juggling so many different things and, helped bring these leagues together. And now he won't be a part of it moving forward. It's going to be strange, man. Like, it really is going to be odd not seeing him on those sidelines in his suit and his plaid shirts and his clipboard and, checking to see what Sox players might have wrong or, the color of their helmets, make sure they're correct. But, like, I mean, look, the guy lived and breathed spring football. And, John, I'll jump right to you right away. What are your thoughts on Daryl no longer being part of the league?
Well, I was a little surprised, but maybe, I mean, I kind of hedge in here that I'm maybe not so surprised. When it felt like we were hearing a lot more, even last year, from Daryl Johnson than we heard from anyone. And in fact, I was at a St. Louis game and someone had a sign up. It's been like, this is, I don't know, 12th game we still haven't seen The Rock. But, you'd see Daryl Johnson at these things. He seemed like he was the face of the league there for the UFL. He certainly was for the USFL. But when Mike Rapoli stepped in, which, this had been working behind the scenes before it was officially announced. I mean, I think he said as much. But, man, he came in, and then all of a sudden it was like Mike Rapoli is now going to be a co-owner of the UFL. And then we start hearing, okay, there are going to be 3 new teams, and now this is going to happen. It was like he just kept rolling out all these changes. And to me, it felt like, okay, well, this is the guy in charge. It's not going to be Russ Brandon. It's not going to be Daryl Johnston. And, yeah, I don't know that – I don't know, though, if those 2 guys were going to – be able to work together. I mean, I don't know anything behind the scenes. That's my speculation was you can't have that many people in charge.
I would agree with that speculation in the sense of look, this is speculation. Please don't quote us on this. But, John, you look at the way Mike Rapoli handles things, you look at the way Daryl Johnson has handled things the last few years, they're on different wavelengths. I guarantee you that they were butting heads behind the scenes on certain things, and rightfully so. I mean, Mike Rapoli's got his own ideas. He's got some really good ideas. I also think he's got some ideas that need to be tweaked, or maybe just, all right, let's pump the brakes a little bit. And Daryl's more, we've done it this way, let's keep doing it this way. Like, this is what works, this is what football is. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's, the UFL basically not renewing his contract was probably Rapoli being like, you know what, like, this relationship's just not working anymore.
Yeah, I just thought real quick, I just thought maybe he would go into another role because we started to hear about, Russ Brandon is really going to take the title that he had. So I thought, well, maybe Daryl Johnson ends up in some kind of different player personnel role or something like that. But it sounds like I don't think they couldn't work together maybe.
Yeah, and what's interesting on that front, too, is not only is Daryl out, but you look at a couple of guys who came over from the USFL who are also out, and we'll get into the coaches later on, but, Jim Pop, he's also no longer involved. We're going to have this whole new regional scout system and this kind of centralized personnel model, right, with Doug Whaley at the helm, and Russ Giglio will be there in administration, and then they'll have 4 scouts, and all these pieces working together with Russ Brandon and the head coaches to allocate, sign players, and do all of that. But, yeah, Jim Pop, I mean, that's a guy that's kind of worth mentioning as well. He's no longer in the league, and he's been a part of the USFL for the last few years and the UFL, big in player personnel and all of that, lots of experience. So it's going to be a much different look this season. And, Ducky, I mean, you've got to talk to Daryl face-to-face. You've had him on the podcast a couple of years back. You gave him a Pittsburgh Maulers helmet live on air. What are your thoughts about Daryl no longer being in the league?
I mean, it sucks, because I thought he did a good thing, but at the end of the day, we've been doing the same thing, different year, for how many years now? I think it is probably best to part ways. Change has to happen somewhere, and if that's where it's going to happen, I mean, hopefully it works out. I want it to work out, so I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's the end of the world, like a lot of people think so. Whenever something like that happens, I think change is a good thing. So I can see it going a good way. And like John said, too many people in charge, it just, nothing gets done. Everybody wants to be the guy who calls the shots, and they want their shot being called, but that's how nothing gets done, because it just butt heads and nothing happens for 5 years.
And to kind of bounce off that, I think that's been part of the struggle for spring ball the last couple of years, is in the UFL, it has felt like there has been different visions and decisions made by both sides, the USFL and the XFL folks who were in there, like, just compromising, right? Like, oh, we'll do this the XFL way, we'll do this the USFL way, okay, we'll do that the XFL way. Like, there hasn't been a combined, like, we're going to do this the UFL way. And I think that kind of energy, that camaraderie has been sort of lacking the last couple years. And as Lauren says here in the comments, too many cooks in the kitchen. And I'm hopeful that Rapoli at the helm, at least we have a clear vision now. We don't know what that vision is fully yet, but there's going to be a vision. So we'll see how that plays out. Jake, you've been quiet. Any thoughts on Daryl?
It's one of the few moves that I agree with Rapoli on. And I might be in the minority, especially coming from the USFL side of things, but Moose has never been my favorite person in any leadership role with the league. So I'm not terribly upset with this move.
Now, Abdul brings up an interesting point, which I want to talk about quick before we move on to coaches, but could Daryl Johnson want to color commentate on games for Fox? I mean, that would be interesting. I guess it depends on, are there hard feelings there? What does the contract look like? Did his UFL contract mean that he couldn't call games on Fox? I don't know. We don't know those details, but I think it's an interesting question to ask and a cool scenario to put out there. Daryl's been around spring football more than pretty much anybody who's involved in the UFL right now, so I think he does a great job commentating the NFL on Fox. I don't see why he couldn't do the UFL on Fox as long as it was mutual.
Yeah, I mean, he's uniquely qualified, but I don't know. It felt like did we really even hear a whole lot from Daryl Johnston after this announcement?
Nothing.
So I don't know
that
there's,
that's where I feel like, and again, comes down to, did they end on good terms, right?
That doesn't sound like it.
It doesn't feel like they did.
No.
So again, this is speculation. We don't know exactly what happened, what conversations were had, but it's worth talking about. But I think that'd be really cool if it could work out. But
yeah, I mean, that would be nice. I just I feel like that they've lost a lot of, you lose some institutional knowledge, even though it's not like there's a deep history here with with going back to 2022. But it felt like there was something there for him, that he had a lot to offer, but I just don't think the dynamic was going to work behind the scenes from just what and that's not reporting. That's, again, unauthorized speculation there.
Hey, we're not supposed to be doing that anymore, John. Come on, man.
A lot of that going around recently.
All around Rue, Moose literally destroyed the Roughnecks. I feel like there's someone else that may have destroyed the Roughnecks, not Moose. But unless
He's not with the league either.
I will say maybe this comment is referring to the fact that the Roughnecks were supposed to be Wade Phillips' team and then got to be CJ Johnson's team in the merger. If that's what you're referring to, then yeah, I agree. I think that was one of the worst moves the league made during the merger, especially because they knew before announcing the teams and everything that Wade Phillips was coming back and Hines Ward was out. We've talked about it before. I'm still so annoyed that they made the decision to stick CJ in Houston and put Wade in San Antonio. Houston would be a way better market right now if that never happened. And you moved off San Antonio anyway. So
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would
could
still
tell,
have Wade Phillips.
yeah.
Yeah. And you could tell he wanted Houston as well. You could just tell. He didn't. I'm not saying he didn't care about the Brahmas, but you could just tell he wanted Houston.
Yeah,
That's
I think that whole thing was such a compromise in the first place to change the name to the Roughnecks, but it was really the Gamblers, and they put them in the USFL conference. That to me was the biggest fumble of the entire merger. I mean, to me, that made no sense, and it just alienated like 50% of your market.
Well, and it's unfortunate Zach and Ref aren't here because they were at the first home Roughnecks game down there, and so many of those fans, and this was in 2024, so many of those fans were like, who is this? Where's Wade? Who are these guys?
Right.
It's just like, you wonder why that fan base looked like it was. I mean, Dougie, remember that one picture you posted during the season of I think Ben DiNucci quote tweeted it. That was.
Yeah, I'm not. Normally I don't post that kind of stuff unless I'm trolling, but I was being serious. And I'm just like, something needs to happen in Houston. Somebody needs fired. Somebody needs hired. Something needs to happen. Because
This comment is crazy.
I'd show up for that.
No, I mean, that is one way to sell tickets.
Yeah. And they need to sell them in Houston because it's not been very good the last few years.
Fun for the whole family. Good grief. Well, I mean,
Thomas.
that could segue right into talking about CJ Johnson. We can get to Nolan afterwards. But, I mean, CJ Johnson, I feel like some of us have been calling for his departure for years now. And I have nothing against him. I think he's a great person. I think he's a good coach. I think he's a great players coach. I just don't think he's a head coach. I mean, I think that's been made kind of obvious the last couple of seasons. Things have crumbled in Houston. There just never was really that locker room camaraderie that translated onto the field until other people came in and stepped up into leadership roles, like Tom Cable joining the staff and really helping out this season, getting the O-line right. And we could see Cable, I remember week 1, he's like just basically coaching up CJ Johnson on the sidelines. And then you've got Jalen McClendon who steps in, who was QB3 thanks to CJ Johnson, and then comes in and gives that team life. I would love to see Curtis Johnson involved in the UFL, just not as a head coach. Put him in as a wide receivers coach, an offensive coordinator, I don't know. But I think he could still have a role. It's just I'm perfectly okay with this move.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it wasn't working, and you never saw like you didn't really see like a really vast improvement. Yeah, I mean, they had a nice little run there toward the end of the season, and when they finally got the right quarterback in there, I mean, it was too little, too late. But I'm like you've got to continue to see like some kind of improvement year over year, and we just never saw that under CJ with the Gamblers or the Roughnecks.
And every year, it just felt like it was the coaching that was holding that team back. 'Cause
Yep.
there was talent there. Like, there was legit. I mean, I remember the 2023 Gamblers are in that important game against the Breakers, which made her, basically decide the playoffs in Week 10. And he's out there running a 2 quarterback system for just, like, like, it's Week 10. Like,
Yeah.
why? What are we doing? But I think that this move, it was on the way. We saw it coming, and to kind of tie into Johnson, Nolan, and Johnston, it kind of is interesting that Darryl Johnson is ousted, and then 2 coaches that Darryl brought to the USFL that he definitely kept around in the UFL in Mike Nolan and CJ Johnson, they're gone. They're out of here.
Yeah, I don't think that's a coincidence either.
I don't think
Again,
so either.
it's speculation, but boy, that just does not. I mean, the timing of it, everything does not seem like is coincidental.
And, I mean, coach is completely up in the air right now because we don't know exactly who's coming back, who's not. There's been no announcements made except for Mike Nolan and CJ Johnson being out. This kind of feels not even like news, but, I mean, I can confirm Jim Turner and Peyton Pardee are not going to be head coaches next year. That felt like a given. I mean, anybody who watched those teams. And who knows, maybe Peyton does get an opportunity somewhere, but I think the league's going in a different direction. I would love to see him back as a coordinator. We'll see where that goes. Jim Turner felt like, I mean, similar to CJ Johnson, he just did not know how to run a football team. I love the guy, good positional coach, just not head coach material. Mike Nolan, though, that's the one that I really want to talk about because Jake, I'm sure you have some thoughts, but Jake, I'll let you go ahead first because I'm not so happy about this one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first off, I have not going to be the biggest Nolan defender. Obviously, if you saw any of my content from
Really?
last year, especially in the first half, there were definitely some questionable decisions made by Nolan, and that had been the case since 2023. So I'm not going to sit here and go like this guy had to, be kept. But at the end of the day, he was the one of 2 teams in the championship game last year, got them playoff team, legit playoff team in 23 or 24 and 25. I mean, 23 was a disaster in the USFL North, but still managed to get his team there, even being hired in last minute. So at the end of the day, he was one of the better coaches in the league, especially, kind of players like them, especially with him and Kaiser. Like, it just made sense, and they were great. So getting rid of Nolan was probably not the move I was expecting, especially this late in the game. But, I mean, it feels like, as I tweeted, it feels like this is a sign of bigger things and not necessarily, them wanting, having a USFL thing. So I don't know if that's related to Moose or anything like that. I feel like that's just more Rapoli wanting to completely change things and going to have a completely new look UFL in 2026. That's my take on that. But as far as Nolan being one of the ones out, that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially because he was the one to get most of his players back too. Like, they were signing players really quickly, so already looked like they were going to try to run it back.
Yeah,
Whether
the
it was in
interesting
Michigan
part
or
of
Louisville or whoever.
the interesting part of his release and the statement that he put out too is, I've been informed that I will not be returning as head coach as the league moves forward in new direction under new ownership. As it was put to me, they are quote unquote restructuring and starting fresh. I respect their right to build a model they believe will shape the league's future. Obviously, there's a lot more to that quote, and we can get into that another time. But I think what fascinates me the most about this decision is that it's a lot less about Mike Nolan and the league not seeing eye to eye on, moving to a different market or moving to the full-time contract role, or kind of it seems like Mike Nolan wanted to make this happen and wanted to stay as part of the league, and they just basically showed him the door. And that I personally don't agree with. I understand, trying to, I don't know what's going on with my screen right now, but anyways, Ducky's full screen. What? Every time I share my screen, something happens, guys.
You're full screen.
Oh, no.
You're full screen.
Goodbye,
Wait a
everybody.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Anyways, I don't see. I understand wanting change. I just don't see the vision where you're getting rid of a coach that's been in the playoffs 3 years in a row. Michigan sent so many players to the NFL. They've had so many all UFL guys. MVP of the league who now isn't coming back. Like, this is a really good franchise that had a good coach. Great staff, by the way. I mean, Nolan's staff was some of the best in the league, in my opinion, and we're just sending them all away just because? Like, I don't get it.
I don't. And here's the thing. This has always been my thought. It doesn't matter the sport. It doesn't matter the level. If you want to get rid of a coach, you better have an upgrade. Now, does Mike Rapoli have a list of upgrades that he's already signed that we don't know about? I mean, maybe, because when you start to hear, like, there's been reporting that some of these contracts might be signed Thanksgiving week. All right. Well, we never really heard anything. What we did see
That didn't happen.
Or we lost two coaches rather than finding out who's going to be signed in this league. So I hope that if Rapoli is coming in there, and I mean he's been around sports enough to know when you get rid of somebody, you better have somebody better. But it's hard for me to find who's out there willing to do this that was going to be better than Mike Nolan. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't Matt Corral sign a contract with the Michigan Panthers? So, like, where? I mean, we can talk about that, but where is he in this? And I would think that Matt Corral probably wanted to sign with the Michigan Panthers because he wanted to play for Mike Nolan, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
No, I can confirm with you that part. I mean, Corral was very excited to get to Michigan. Steve Kaiser did a lot of work, kind of recruiting him there and getting him in, and now Kaiser's not part of the league anymore, which is another shame. I mean, he's one of the best GMs in this scene, and so good. That's another conversation. But, it's just so strange because you look at that lineup where imagine you stick him in Louisville, right? Stick the Panthers there. You've got Nolan. You've got Matt Corral. That's close enough to Ole Miss, right? I mean, he's a recognizable name down there. Like, you've got a squad. Even if Bryce Perkins didn't return and goes up to the CFL, you still got Corral there. But we'll see what happens. The roster is a whole other conversation. But to circle back, John, I think you make a great point is who do they have lined up that's going to be better? It's really hard to say.
Yeah,
I mean, we're already in December. There's a lot of decisions to be made. There's college hirings going on. There's guys looking for NFL opportunities. Who's actually on the street right now?
So you have to, my guess is you have to think, are these guys that's in this maybe talent pool that Mike Rapoli has, are these guys people who are looking for college jobs that might not get them? Because we've seen how quickly, coaches are fired and hired in college because you have to start recruiting like right now. So that's you got to wonder, like, is that what he's waiting? Were some of these guys waiting on that? Now we're going to get this glut of signings and announcements. Although Mike Rapoli says maybe not a lot will happen this month, but we're going to learn a lot in January. Who knows?
Fireworks in January, baby. I'm
Right.
excited. I mean,
which is less than 3 months before this thing kicks off. We need to know who's playing where, who's coaching where. I don't know.
I mean, we're looking at UFL 2.0 for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, I think these latest moves have really kind of solidified that, where, like, it might be unrecognizable when it comes to just the general talent pool, the general, the coaches and all of that. Obviously, we're going to have 3 new markets. There's going to be a lot of different, and then there's going to be other aspects too, like new uniforms, right? I mean, what's going to get changed there? Potentially some new branding, things like that. So it'll be a lot. I'm excited for a lot of this change. I'm just frustrated because I feel like Nolan is the type of guy who, he's got the spring ball experience. He's got a great staff. He wanted to be part of the league. Why are we showing him the door when there's 3 months left until training camp. As long as things stay on pace to what they were last year, which we already know March 27th is the start date for this season. So, yeah, we've got less than 3 months until training camp starts.
Yeah, I don't know why they waited until the week of Thanksgiving to make this change when could have been done 4 months ago or
Yeah.
whatever behind the scenes. So
That's the
like,
best
it
time to
just-
fire people. Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
No, I mean it was
Giving
quite
thanks?
literally Black Friday, which I guess they give it a different name, recognition for a couple folks. But I got a call from Mike Nolan. He's like, James, I just got let go. Could you put that statement for me? I'm just like, holy crap, like I'm in a Target right now, guys.
But that just really surprises the whole Nolan thing. I mean, we've talked about it. It surprises me because much like Johnston, you're losing a guy who was invested, who wanted to do this, who made players better, and had the knowledge, and that seems like a huge loss. It just happened there.
I don't know who C. Thomas is, but he's dropping some bangers in the chat right now. Holy smokes!
James keeps reading comments.
Oh, you completely threw me off track, Thomas. I was supposed to be saying something else. Good grief. John, what were you saying?
Hell, I don't remember now. Something about Mike
Unprofessional,
Nolan.
James.
This is why Zach's supposed to be the host, man. Or ref. Ref, man. I mean, this CJ Johnson. This is his guy. He should be here right now. Maybe he's just too depressed. They completely blocked everybody off or something. I don't know. He hasn't been responding to my text since that news came out. So,
Is there word that maybe that like Skip Holtz is out now and everybody's got to take a break on that?
that'll be an interesting one. You would think that Skip stays committed to the league, but also with having a full-time contract, being more involved in personnel, which he was. I mean, Zach Potter worked closely with Skip. Obviously, Paul Orell worked closely with Skip. So he's one of those coaches that did have more of a grip on the personnel side of things, similar to like Anthony Becht in St. Louis, whereas, Bob Stoops with the Renegades, Rick Mueller was doing a lot of that work. Same goes. And, an interesting thing is with CJ Johnson now out, does the league at some point bring him back to one of those scouting type of roles, right? Which we should have some news on that soon, and CJ Johnson won't be one of them, but that is his bread and butter. I mean, when you talk about recruiting and, evaluating talent, CJ Johnson does that better than almost anybody. I mean, just based on his track record at Miami and some of these places. So I could see that being a fit for him as well in the league. I think that'd be cool, but he might just retire.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do. You brought up a good point. Or do some of these coaches not want to be full-time coaches? I mean, Bob Stoops has pretty much said, hey, this is a pretty good gig. You do it for a few months and go fishing. And Skip
Right.
Holtz has been able to. I mean, I think Skip Holtz is invested. I mean, I think he likes the job because he doesn't have to work year round, and he's working to get these guys to another level. But yeah, is that something that you feel like you want to do? Full time all year.
And especially where, half of these guys that really came into the USFL or the XFL, they did it because, like you said, it's an easy job. It's something that they could do. They've already won their games. They've already done their time. Like, they're here. So that is another thing that'll be interesting to watch is what direction does the league go? Are we letting Mike Nolan go because we're going to go hire some Jaron Hortons and some younger guys, Colin Bowers or AJ Smiths or guys that are in their 30s that really, just need an opportunity at this level? Or are we going to bring in Mike Nolan 2.0, and it's going to be the same thing? And then it's going to just be like, why did we make this change in the first place? Because Mike Nolan 2.0, he's not going to understand spring football the way Mike Nolan does. So that's my main concern. So hopefully we'll see, things flush out and it'll be smoother than we think, but I'm a little worried about that right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned too. I would like to have a little more clarity on what I've got season tickets to the Louisville Kings, and I don't even know who's going to be coaching or playing. And we're not alone. I mean, there's a lot of people.
Rod Woodson, and you're gonna love it.
Yeah, right.
No.
That worked out really well in Vegas, but yeah, I do. I just wonder, what the plan here is, and it's just like, again, I said before and we'll say again, if you're going to fire Nolan, get an upgrade, and I don't know who that upgrade is.
And part of it as well, I think frustrates me as well. The football product's been so good. Like, that's the one part of this league that's been actually fantastic.
Yep.
Where there's so many things to fix in the UFL, and there's so many things we can criticize, which we are doing right now. but the football product has been tremendous. I mean, some of the best football we've seen across the board this past season. You know, Bryce Perkins out there for the Panthers, watching him spin off of 6 different guys in one play. It's like, that's really good football. Like, that's really enjoyable to watch. And now we see Bryce Perkins go up north. I mean, he signed with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, a place where he might not be starting. They got Zach Collaros. He's a really good quarterback. He's been part of that team for a while. And I know of probably at least a couple dozen players from these teams, you know, the Roughnecks and the Panthers, that because their coaches aren't coming back, they're not coming back to the UFL. Even if they've re-signed already, like they're not. They're like, we're done. Like, they're gonna go to the CFL or they're retiring. And that, I think, is a problem as well, because then you're starting to shrink the talent pool that you have available. I mean, these are some really good players, some all UFL caliber players that I know will not be returning. Like, and you got to go get some more guys off the street now, you know? I mean, that could impact the product.
I mean, but maybe that's exactly what Rapoli wants. Seems like this is maybe an excuse to shoehorn his desire to completely regionalize rosters or as much as possible, and then get his younger guys in. He does want to push out those older guys. I mean, so, like, I don't know. I think with all these changes, I think he's trying to backdoor in some of his things, even though, you know, I guess he could have done it more overtly, but maybe this just gives them more justification.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hope
think
it is younger guys.
Yeah.
I hope they
Yeah.
they do away with the older guys. I feel like we've been doing that for how long now? I think it's time to actually let the young guys coach. And if it doesn't work, then go back to the old guy thing. But I think now it's time to be.
No, I meant
the
player
opportunity.
wise, but yeah, coaches, he
yeah.
should go younger, absolutely. But he's trying to. But
Bucky's
talking about,
exposed for not
you know,
paying
getting rid
attention
of-
for a
Dude,
couple minutes.
I was not paying. I'm over here sorting out Pokemon cards.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Uh,
But yeah,
you could be a
I mean,
league executive, I guess.
yeah, but yeah, you're right. It's like, okay, if, you know, one of the things that Rapoli said that did not go over well was, you know, talking about he didn't want players to just keep coming back and coming back. And yeah, you know, the thing to hear about Steve Macy, I think that's very true. I think Teddy Bridgewater was about to, or at least talking to them about possibly coaching, you know, because that whole high school gig, which was ridiculous down there, and then he, you know, he ends up, you know, getting an NFL gig here. So, but I just hope that Rapoli is not saying, okay, here's a hard and fast rule. There has to be some kind of connection to the market. It's okay if you've got some, you know, like for instance, if they wanted to bring in Jay Gruden, like Jay Gruden has, he could go, you know, Louisville, Columbus, or Orlando, because he has connections to all three of those. And that's fine, those looser connections. But if you're just going to hold it to this hard and fast rule, I mean, it feels like you might be handcuffing yourself.
Another, you know, I talked to Brian Woods, I think it was 2 weeks ago. He came on Around the UFL, former of the Spring League executive, president of the USFL in the first year. And, you know, he kind of vouched for these younger coaches because he's like, look, I've been around the scene for a long time, and I see the way these younger guys connect, you know, with the players. And if the goal of the league is to be bringing in more and more young and youth and athleticism there from an athlete standpoint of guys coming out of NFL training camps, these are coaches that are going to be able to connect with them, you know, on a deeper level, and guys that understand, might be around the same age, you know, guys that just are kind of in their shoes, and they're proven already, right? I mean, it's supposed to be the league of opportunity. Why not give a couple of younger guys a chance? I do think we will see that happen. I hope so. I think it'll be insane if all this change happens and we don't see at least a couple of younger guys in there. That's my hot take of the day. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, you know, Peyton Pardee kind of got dealt a bad hand there. I mean, he did the best that he could with what he was given. But, man, I just thought, like, that guy, to me, even with the, you know, the one win or whatever it was with San Antonio, just seems like that would be the, if not him, that kind of a younger coach who's kind of on the come up and, you know, would be, you know, even if he doesn't have a local tie somehow, like that would be one of the guys you'd want to bring into the league.
Right. I agree. I think Peyton did. To me, if it was me, I would be giving Peyton the nod to.
Yes.
I'd be like, hey, you've got 1 year. This is your chance right here. See what you can do with it. And I think Peyton, just based off what he was doing, you know, everybody looks at that win-loss column and they go off of that. And that's not what you should be going off of at all. You should be looking at the locker room, asking the players, everything like that. But I think he did a pretty good job.
watch how that team played. They kept playing for him. Like they had nothing to play for a while, and they kept playing. Like that was a hard playing team.
Yep.
And to take over a team that in that situation where you lose your offensive coordinator, who's a really good one at that, in AJ Smith, then you lose Wade Phillips the next week. You've got to take it over. You've got Mark Lillibridge signing guys, cutting guys, signing guys, cutting guys. Like it was just like a revolving door in the Brahmas organization this whole year. So I agree. I mean, I love Peyton. I think he was put in a really tough spot. I think there are better candidates out there for a head coaching gig, but he's one of those younger guys who, if there is that opening and they need somebody, and that's another thing. He understands spring football, right? He's been a part of it before, and I don't know if the league executives truly understand that UFL is so much different than college football, and it's so much different than the NFL. So you need guys who have been in this scene who really understand it. So that does worry me just a bit with all of this change on the way. That like, are these guys really gonna have this knowledge of the nuances of spring ball? Remains to be seen.
Yep. And when you lose this, like we said, you lose the knowledge and you lose the background of that. A coach like Mike Nolan, I would guess, and James, you would know more than anyone, seems like he would be the guy who might take some of these other coaches, under his wing to just say, yeah, I want to beat you, but still, like, this is how this is working. This is what works, and this doesn't work. And I think Skip Holtz would be another one like that.
Yeah. No, I agree. Chop Got Sauce 6812, really quite the username, but I like your point here as well, when it comes to the player aspect. Yeah. This is what I've been preaching. I've always wanted the league to try to at least lean in the direction of younger players, but you need that veteran aspect, right? You need Jordan Tiamu in the DC. Why? Because the Defender fans love him. Imagine if Jordan Tiamu is not DC's quarterback next season, there's going to be a lot of Defenders fans who are up in arms. Bryce Perkins, we've already lost him to the CFL. But, veterans like Frank Ginda, and maybe this is a bad example because the Panthers don't exist anymore, but Frank Ginda is a very recognizable guy up there in Michigan. A lot of people know him. He was, veteran presence on that defense, always making plays. Every time his name was called, you'd hear people cheering in the stands there in Michigan. Luis Perez is another one. I know there's some people who love him, some hate him, but, he's a vet. He's been around the scene. He wins football games. That's what he does. So you need some of those older guys. Okay, Travis Feeney in St. Louis. Another guy, friend of the show. He's been on here before, but he's still playing at a really high level. He has a whole fan base in St. Louis that show up to games with Travis Feeney signs. Yeah. That's his fan section. I know he's 33, but there should be a spot for him in St. Louis if he wants to keep playing.
Yeah.
But, anyways.
I think here's the thing about Rapoli, and not that I know him, but when I covered sports here in Louisville, and I was at the Derby a few times and kind of running him as a horse owner, and would interview him. And I was in the scrum. It wasn't like these exclusive one-on-one, but you can kind of get a sense of people, and I think a lot of people are starting to see this. From some of his news conferences, he doesn't go up there with prepared remarks. He talks off the cuff.
Really?
He's not. There's no teleprompter involved, and so I think that a lot of the things that is like he doesn't want players just coming to get a paycheck or whatever. I think that's off the cuff stuff. I would hope that there are people that he listens to behind the scenes that kind of fill him in on what this is. Again, I think he joined the league in July or August or something like that. So there's
officially in July, I believe.
Okay,
yeah.
but I think we know that there was a lot going on probably well before that, and he even said they had talked before, it just didn't work out. But yeah, I just there's a lot. Sometimes you have to understand someone that is just talking off the cuff rather than this is what the policy is going to be, and hopefully that's what we're seeing.
And he's got a lot of great ideas. He's obviously been very successful as a businessman in the past, and I'm very excited to see what he does on the marketing and business side of things. It's just the football is good. It has been good. And truth be told, fans in Louisville, fans in Orlando, they would much rather have Mike Nolan and a winning football team than a team that goes 1-9, that has a local head coach and some local players who are washed up that the league decided to sign because, they're local guys, but they've been out of football for 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? Fans are not going to care fans wouldn't care about John Gruden coaching in Orlando if the team's 0-5 to start the season.
Yeah.
They're going to start calling for his job, you know? I mean, that's just how it works. Fans want to win. So I think at this level, yes, you can sell some tickets here and there with local guys, but it's not going to be the major, major difference that you'd think it might be. That's my take.
Yeah. I agree.
agreed.
Like, it just you can have the name all you want. And you can be local. I mean, look at Columbus with Ryan Day. You know, Ryan Day every single year he won all these all these things with Urban Meyer and stuff. But the second you start losing games to Michigan, you're in the hot seat, dude. You're out. That's just that whole loyalty thing, or the local thing. It just doesn't matter. No one cares if you're local.
Yeah, I mean, look at Philadelphia Eagles fans right now. It's like,
Yep.
it's like you could, if you have high standards. I mean, their local connection is the team, but it's like, yeah, the team's won like 8 games, and they're not going to make the playoffs if you listen to a lot of Philadelphia Eagles fans.
Yeah.
So but you're right. You've got to put a product on the field that's good, and I think we saw that. I think there were several issues in Memphis last year. I mean, Memphis was a market that has been burnt so many times by every league from the 70s on that they didn't put a good product on the field and people didn't show up. We saw that in 2023 or whatever year it was with the Orlando Guardians and Terrell Buckley and that team, which was weird. Their one win was over the DC Defenders, but nobody's going to show up to watch that. Like you've got to put a good product on the field. Yeah. Okay, great. We got these local connections and, like Ducky said, yeah, there's, local players and local coaches, but they're not going to show up to watch, a team that can't get past the 50.
No, I agree. And it's not going to matter if Cardell Jones is the Columbus Aviators quarterback if he can't throw the ball, past the 40-yard line.
Yep. You will get 8 alive in Columbus. That's just the way the cookie crumbles.
An example that comes to mind for me is like a Steel Chambers, who funny enough played for the Showboats this past season. Former Ohio State product, was a good linebacker for them. If you stick him on the Aviators, I would say you maybe get 4 fans a game that show up because Steel Chambers is on that team. If that.
And the thing is, yeah, it's like
if that
game 1, everybody's going to be hyped about it.
Yeah.
But once you get into game 3, game 6, that whole name hype thing, it's out the door. You got to get somebody in there that wants to make a name for themselves and not somebody who already had a name.
I mean, look at the Memphis Express in the AAF, with some of those big names that they brought in to that organization, and the fans were gone by the time it was week 7, week 8 because the team stunk. Even with
Johnny Manziel couldn't save them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, also part of the problem was obviously the league front-loaded all of the marketing. They just cared about week 1, and then after that, it was just kind of like, all right, we did our job.
Right.
So that was part of the problem, was the marketing there. But yeah, obviously you're gonna have fall off after week 1, and then the name recognition becomes far less important, and then it's the product on the field, which blowing up the rosters is going to make that suffer. So right there, you're already looking at hurting your product, which is never never made any sense to me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the league said a few weeks ago that rosters would remain unchanged. So
That was also a few weeks ago.
I guess
Right.
we'll see.
Well, that's what we said a few weeks ago, but now we've decided we're going to blow up everything and have an 8-team dispersal draft. It's like I would love to know. To me, I thought like, okay, I brought up Matt Corral earlier. He signed a contract. So let's say that the league decides to put Michigan in Columbus. Okay, so why not bring the players who have signed to Michigan, to bring them to Columbus, but then put the other players who are unsigned or have not worked out anything into a dispersal draft. Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Kind of like whenever they kept some players during the merger.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
So
like giving the chance to protect some guys or something.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you do it like a fantasy draft. Who cares? It's like, yeah, okay, you're protecting these guys. So like the AAF did with, they had the whole quarterback draft, and then they would do all that. I mean, you do something, but they've got to do it pretty soon. I mean, good Lord, it's early December.
I think it's one thing
and
executives
Chop-
don't understand.
Chop makes another great point. Continuity is so important. we already know
Yes.
training camp's not going to be very long because of the timeline that we're on right now. And if in the hypothetical case that, more of the rosters get blown up, whether that's all of it or half of it or a third of it or whatever it might end up being, we'll see. We don't know. I mean, again, the league said things remain unchanged, but again, things change all the time in this league, so we'll see. But continuity is like the main thing. Look at the DC Defenders this year. They would not have gone on that championship run if it was not for the continuity that Fred Kais, Jordan Tiamu, and that entire offense has had the last 3 seasons. Same goes for the Michigan Panthers. A whole lot of continuity in that team. All they needed was that one spark in Bryce Perkins to take them over the hump and get past the Birmingham Stallions, and they did that. Birmingham Stallions, still one of the best teams in the league. Why? Because they've got Skip Holtz and so many of those same offensive and defensive pieces, not just from the coaching staff side, but, personnel as well. It's just like,
And
if
when you had
were
your
to
players go down,
hypothetically blow
you
things
brought
up,
J Mart.
right?
Yeah.
Seymour Smith comes back and after eating donuts at Dunkin' Donuts, and he's zipping the ball
Because
for
he knows
400
Skip's
yards.
system, because they
Right,
spent time
right.
together, because they understood each other, which you're not going to have if you blow up the rosters.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that comment right there either. You're right. It's like it feels like when you're kind of rebooting everything. I don't know about Houston. I don't know what they're going to do there, but hopefully these new venues will help, kind of get the fan base there, but you got to get the players there and you got to get the coaches and you got to let everybody know. Like someone said earlier, I want local connections and local marketing and good football. That's not a lot to ask. That's really not.
Yeah. We've had, 6 years to figure it out now? Like, hopefully this is the year. I mean,
Yeah.
we're 3 months away. Believe
But,
it or not.
on the positive side, as you brought up, we're going into our 6th year of spring football, which is, we've already passed a record. This adds to the record. It's like we've actually had 6 full years of some kind of continuity of spring football. So that is a positive anyway. But yeah,
No, it's tremendous. I mean, thank God for Mike Rapoli, because otherwise that streak might have come to an end.
do you really think that the UFL might have been in trouble?
I think it was in trouble. I don't know what that trouble exactly was.
Yeah.
But I just think it is obvious to everyone and their mother that looking at the product, no, not the football product, but the general product of the UFL this year took a big hit. At least compared to last year.
Right.
Stands were not full. There was just so much incohesiveness with coaches coming and going, and it just all around, TV ratings down, attendance down. It just felt like it was kind of sloppy. It did not feel like the professionalism that we've seen in years past, that's for sure. So, I mean, the numbers kind of speak for themselves sometimes,
I
Yeah,
still feel like all these changes are a desperation move. You don't move nearly half of your markets, threatening to move a full half of your markets to do all of this in one off season if there isn't some desperation. You wouldn't go and suddenly try to centralize all of your scouting and all of this. And, they can say not cost cutting all you want, but just like the AAF, oh no, we didn't miss our, payroll. That was just a payroll glitch.
Right.
Yeah, you can say that all you want, but at the end of the day, I think the league was truly in trouble, and I think all of these moves, whether they turn out to be good or not, I'm not going to say that these are bad moves necessarily, though I don't agree with the majority of them, but I think a lot of them are out of a place of desperation of like, hey, 2026 needs to work. There needs to be some absolute, not even just a slight upward trajectory, but a considerable increase, a considerable bump, I think is what you need to see in 2026 to survive, and I think a lot of these changes kind of reflect that, in my opinion.
The bottom line for me is that change is good, change is needed, change is desperately needed, as we've seen, right? We just talked about it.
Not for the
UFL
sake of
probably
change, though.
wouldn't be here without change, but the thing is, do not bite off more than you can chew. This is spring football. You are not the NFL. The NFL, if they wanted to switch half their markets in a season, I mean, they would never do that, but hypothetically, they could probably pull it off because they're the NFL. But this is the United Football League. You can only make so many changes at once and actually efficiently execute on each one of those changes. That's where I'm a little bit concerned, is there's so much change going on that, the ball's going to get dropped here and there, I feel like, in certain, and what aspects is the ball going to be dropped in? That remains to be seen. Hopefully not at all, but I mean, it's spring football. I mean, it's kind of hard. Look, just looking at the track record of these leagues, there's always been some glaring something wrong, And that's what I fear we're going to see happen again, just because they tried to fix so many things at once that in the process you actually broke some of the tools that you were using to try to fix the stuff, you know?
That's a good way to put it. Especially you've got all this ownership change, new owners coming in, new investors, and now you're going to bring in 3 new markets and then try to almost, reset everything. And it's there's so many moving pieces here in this year one. It's UFL 2.0. There's no question. I felt like the UFL had a little bit of a honeymoon that year after the merger, but a lot of the numbers were good. But then, in 2025, we started to see, you mentioned it, James, some slippage in ratings. And even though they tried to deny it and gaslight us that wasn't the case, we could see the numbers. I thought the play on the field to me was second. I mean, it was great. It was second
the
to
best
none.
we've seen. Definitely
100%. It was the best we've seen. And it's just a matter of, I heard from so many people, and I'm sure you guys did too, in so many markets, that there weren't enough boots on the ground in these markets to get the word out. You can't just say, hey, we've got this football team, you should come see us. You've got to sell it to the local markets. You don't have to do that in St. Louis. But you can't you don't compare anything to St. Louis. It's such an outlier for this. So I hope you're right when you say that, they haven't, hopefully they don't bite off more than they can chew, because there is such a strong base, I think, already here. It did need some improvement. There's no question. The football play was awesome. A lot of these markets need a little tweaking here. The biggest tweak was moving to these smaller stadiums. I think that's the best move that there is, period.
huge.
So hopefully this works.
That's the best thing they've done so far.
Yep.
Other than getting out of like a market like Memphis, where clearly it just wasn't working. I'm super excited about Louisville and Columbus. I think if they execute in these markets, it's going to be tremendous. It's just,
I didn't hear
again,
Orlando
it comes
in
down
there,
to
though.
execution. It's kind of been hit or miss so far
Right.
under the Rapoli regime so far.
But
I mean,
you're
just
not
look at the UFL shop, right? I mean, that is something where, and look, Rapoli
Right.
came right out, and I feel like I should just pull up that tweet just because it's funny. And James Baker, I don't know if you're watching tonight, but shout out James Baker for.
I think they're new best friends here.
They might. I mean, hey, they could be interviewing AI models together. You never know.
Yeah. That was such a. The whole shop thing is such a drop ball for me. That was crazy.
That rollout. But I think it kind of speaks to that. Like, here's this whole new thing. They had this countdown that went on forever and ever and ever,
And got pushed back like 2 weeks twice, I think.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
and then stupid me wakes up at 4:00 in the morning because it was supposed to open at midnight, and there's another countdown going on. I go back. Oh, it's okay. It's going to be 7 a.m. my time. I come back at 7. Nothing worked. It's like, I think it was finally like noon my time you could actually get in there. And I mean, what a bad rollout. And then they still don't have everything ready by Black Friday. And they said, well, we're going to keep adding and keep adding. But you're right. That's tough.
And I think that's where my previous comment about biting off more than you can chew comes into play. He's bitten off so much and they're chewing so much that the he admits it, like, yes, we dropped the ball here, but like, what else is the ball going to get dropped on? Like, if it's just a shot,
Right.
we can survive. We'll manage.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Right.
But what other
just something to
things
complain
could
about.
potentially go haywire here over the next couple months, scrambling to put so much together? There's a lot. But,
Yeah.
which, speaking of Rapoli, I mean,
I just think the
he was
hype.
an update yesterday with a beautiful AI model of himself. So
Yeah.
I
just
know
don't think the
he
hype-
did that just for Baker. He had to.
Yeah. The hype shouldn't equal what they put out. Like, I was expecting minimum, like, jerseys. I was expecting that.
At least. Sure.
I was like, oh, goodness gracious, whenever I saw that. I think I saw the flip-flops, or whatever the hell people call them. And then I think I just clicked out of the page after
You
that.
didn't stay to look at the robes?
No.
The $100 robes.
I mean, and also, one good thing out of this was the UFL shop Twitter X, whatever you call it, that they were reaching out and replying to people. I did like
That's
that.
awesome.
I
That
liked
is
how they
fantastic.
were engaging with people, telling them, like, that's how you should do it. I felt like the old UFL, like pre Rapoli, would have just ignored everything being said online, and they would just they'd have been like, shut up, whatever, we don't care, and they would have just went about their day. But I like that they made an account and they went and replied to people. I like that a lot.
I will say I did end up ordering it. You know, if you go into the UFL shop and it says there's free shipping over $75. So I ordered. I think my subtotal came to like 89 or 91 or something, and I got charged $9.99 shipping. And I could not, for the life of me, figure it out. So I just went ahead and paid for the stuff. Emailed the email that came up. You know, it says like, if you have any questions about your order, email this email. So I did. That was on Black Friday. Still haven't heard anything back. There was a phone number on there that was 000000000.
I saw that.
I'm like, I'm not going to call that. They're probably not going to work. So it was a little shaky there a week or so in.
Imagine that actually is the phone number though. That would be
Maybe it
hilarious.
was. I should have tried it.
That would
You're
be
right.
hilarious.
No, that's the direct line of Rapola. You didn't know
Right.
that, John?
That's his cell phone, right?
Oh man.
Yeah, I
Rapoli
did. I
Stable,
saw.
How's it going?
I saw somebody posted the whole 000 thing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh goodness gracious, that's not. Accountability is my number one thing whenever I go into stuff, and like I like when people take accountability. But
Look, I mean, at least they understand that wasn't ideal. I mean, especially
Yeah.
the prices and some of the rollouts. And I think the exciting thing is they are rolling out new products, every week or two. I mean, we've seen some new stuff come to the shop, some slightly better price things. So another thing that I think has been cool is, I mean, we'll see what comes of it, but they've got the fans involved with mascot voting. And interestingly enough, DC's not getting a mascot. I don't understand that because that's the one market that doesn't have a mascot. That you can't vote, you can't do anything. But Houston, Columbus, Orlando, and Louisville are all, John. John, who did you vote for?
I voted for the King. I was like, I've seen enough horses. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
The King's name with the horse logo makes complete, perfect sense for Louisville. But we get enough horses. We've already got a horse mascot in Birmingham, so I went
know.
with the King.
It's just gonna be like lime green Stanley if the horse wins.
Right,
Like,
that's exactly. It's like let's move on from the horse. I like the horse logo's cool, but let's have still nothing's going to top the New Orleans Breakers.
Dave the Wave.
Oh my God, that was one of the greatest
Colgate
mascots
Dave.
of all time. Colgate, he looked like that's what I always said. He looked like a big piece, like toothpaste. It was the best.
I'm still salty. About the whole Columbus thing. I replied to them. I just said, hey, do a red pig when pigs fly. It's a funny little wordplay thing.
That's good.
It got like 50 likes and everything else. I'm like, oh, people are engaging with this. People are liking it. Wasn't even an option. And I was like, okay, so they had no intention of listening to what fans had to say right there. That just completely proved it.
And I'll say this about the mascot voting: if you've done it, you've seen it. When you vote, you have to give them all your information, and then it's about like what's your interest level in tickets, like season tickets, single game tickets, group tickets. So that's a whole thing too. It's a way to get it's engagement. It's nice, but it's a way to get your information.
Yeah, I thought about voting even after they didn't put in my recommendation, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to get harassed by a sales rep just to vote. Like, I'm not doing that.
Well, I already bought my season
You
ticket,
got
so there's
flight
not much
deck locked
harassing.
up already, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Also, whenever they send, did you bought season tickets, John?
I did.
Have they showed up on your Ticketmaster at all?
They have not shown up on Ticketmaster. It was charged, and I did get the confirmation email that showed our seats and everything. But I keep going into Ticketmaster. I did it not too long ago. It has not shown up. I wonder if
it
is. Oh, okay. Yeah, it has not shown up, and I bought them the first day they were available.
Yep, same here. I bought. Spoiler alert, if anybody knows, I run Flight Deck, the account, but I bought season ticket extra on top of whatever I already bought my other two or whatever. But I bought extras to give out for Flight Deck because I'm trying to promote that and to give away. And I was trying to give them away as like a Christmas giveaway thing, bought some extra ones, and I can't because they won't give me the tickets to give out. I don't know what's going on here. I haven't emailed anybody yet, but I just figured they would get on top of that. Yeah, go follow that account, guys.
Look at this engagement. It's pretty
They
impressive.
reached out to me, but sadly, with all the firings going on, I don't think anybody that reached out to me no longer works for the UFL. So if you're watching this and you do work currently for the UFL, reach out again and get a hold of me. I'm going to the Select a Seat event, so I'll probably end up trying to talk to somebody there, but hopefully we get that kicking. I think a lot of people like that idea.
Mine's still not shown up. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great idea to be able to, give away some tickets and, get people involved. That's a really good idea.
It's a hard idea to commit to whenever they don't give me my damn tickets.
Well, I also I was going to do like a giveaway on my channel with some UFL merchandise and for that on that first day, but yeah, that didn't work out either.
Yeah,
They're going to
it's
charge
hard.
you shipping for that too.
It's
Probably.
hard to give out $90 robes.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
$99
the-
robes. Get it
I
right,
saw
Dougie.
the 30% Black Friday
Yes.
discount. And I'm like, oh, so
Well-
all that is just putting it at normal MSRP.
Right. Well, it's funny. I put in, I put some stuff in my cart, and I got I think 2 or 3 emails later on. Hey, you got to check these out. Check these out. Don't forget to check these out. That was on Thursday because I was going to wait till Black Friday just to make sure. Sure enough, Black Friday, hey, 30% off. So I'm glad I didn't check it out. Still got $10 charged for shipping that came from nowhere. But we're just complaining.
I am. Overall, I have tiny complaints here and there, but overall, I think we're headed in the right direction with the league.
Oh, 100% agree. I mean, this is, like what James said there. It's like this, I think, and Jake, I think you agree too. Like there needed to be change, not change for the sake of change, but there needed to be some improvements and some kind of shakeup behind the scene.
Oh yeah, I mean, I completely agreed with moving some markets, though, albeit salty about moving Michigan.
Sure.
And I definitely agreed about the smaller venues. Like, I was never one that had to be like, no, you have to play at Ford Field. I still think that EMU would have sufficed for a year or two before going to Alumni Phi, but that's long since sailed, so so be it. But I definitely agreed with those moves up front, but since then I've definitely have had some mixed feelings, and I think that some things are definitely going to go in the right direction. Other things, I don't know. I think it might just be a little bit of making change for change's sake, just to be different. And I don't know. I do agree. I'm not going to hold my breath, but I'm also not going to say that it's a failure. I'm not the billionaire who's successful, created several brands. So I'll sit here and, mind my P's and Q's on that.
Well, let me ask you, James and Jake, if let's say the Michigan Panthers come back after, a year or 2 years, would you or the fan base really embrace them like you did, or would you at all?
It's very. I mean, I'm not a Michigan Panthers
gonna be
fan.
hard.
So this is better answered
Okay.
by Jake, but but the general understanding that I've gotten just from speaking to a lot of the folks around here, the Michigan Panthers fans, like half of them would be like, "Oh, sweet, we got our team back," but then they might realize that it's actually not Mike Nolan and that team, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, what the hell is this?" Half of them are just like, "Yeah, screw the UFL, we're done. Like this is just
I felt
we've
like
given it our all. We did everything we could. Like the league didn't help us out. We're done."
I mean, I'm definitely torn from my perspective. Like, I mean, spring football, I want to see these players, the coaches. I want to see, spring football do well just as a fan of football. But, yeah, kind of this unceremoniously just ripping the, only market to see growth. You can make whatever metrics you want to make is what they should have hit. But they were the only one to see growth. At number 3 in attendance in 2025. And we didn't really get any real answer as to why Michigan couldn't survive. Just oh no, we just couldn't make it work. I mean, I get it if you think Ipsy is too far out from Detroit, but at least just say that. And we've never got an answer. And to me, that's kind of is a sore spot. But I mean, you do it right in 2028. I could be, I could be encouraged to get back into it. I'm not completely, out of the picture on that. But I'm still salty. I can't say yes right now. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say Rapoli is very, very pro Michigan. I mean, during his time in Columbus, when I was at that event, he spent half of his speech talking about bringing back the Michigan Panthers. So,
I mean it's the rivalry of all of football.
Right. Like, it's... So we'll see. We will see. But, look, a lot's going in the right direction. I'm excited about this upcoming season, but I also think it is important to be cautiously and constructive criticism. What am I trying to say right now? Cautiously optimistic about the league and provide some constructive criticism as well because, again, if you're trying to change too much, you risk alienating your current fan base, and that will be a disaster. So that's my warning. But also, I think lots of great stuff is happening, and I'm excited. I hope everybody listening is getting season tickets right now. Do it.
Yep.
And go buy a robe while you're at it.
Right. I'm not going to buy
I'll
the
do
robe, but yeah, I'm like you. I mean, we did get on here and bitch a little bit, but bottom line is we're getting ready to have a 6th season to spring football. I'm not going to complain because I've got a team here in Louisville. Finally, I still can't believe this even happened.
Yeah.
But you're right.
We've been
But you
talking
can
about
be
this for a long time, John.
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked. Like, I was really shocked. But I'm old. I mean, I remember the original USFL, and I just remember it's a delicate balance of these leagues surviving or not, and we're seeing this into a 6th year, and I mean, so I'm like you, James. I'm cautiously optimistic, and I just but we've seen what history can be, and we just don't want that history to repeat. And I think that is our main concerns.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm
I
the
couldn't
same
have said it
boat.
any better myself. Oh, sorry, Ducky.
Oh yeah, I mean, freaking Ohio finally got a team. I guess you can count the Pittsburgh Maulers or whatever, but I'm so happy that
Right.
Ohio got a team, finally. And it's funny though, because I'm moving to Seattle next year, so we'll see how that works out. Yeah,
Maybe the Sea Dragons are coming back.
yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm keeping my house here, so it doesn't matter, but we'll find out.
He's rich like that.
I'm not rich. I just
Oh, man. Well, hey, guys, it's been a fun show. I don't think we have much else to cover. There will be some news coming down the pipeline soon. I think we'll have some stuff coming out shortly about the regional scouts and all that. So that'll be exciting. But other than that, I think it'll be relatively quiet December, as Rapoli said, and we'll see some fireworks next month.
We're waiting.
Ducky, Jake, John, any final words before we wrap things up here?
Oh,
No,
I still hate the Louisville colors. Still hate that. Can't do it.
Well,
Can't do it.
Listen, you couldn't do red and you couldn't do blue. And I said, even before Rapoli said, he mentioned that. It's like, you can't do red because of Louisville. The UK fans would be mad, and then the Kentucky fans would be mad if it were red, so you do green. I kind of get it. So, but yeah, but no, I appreciate you guys having me on. Like I said, I've watched you, and I appreciate being on here and be able to talk a little football with you guys.
Absolutely, John. Well, hey, and anyone who's watching, make sure to go check out John Lewis Sports over there on YouTube. He's got plenty of awesome UFL content, and make sure you view his videos a few times so we can hopefully make some of that $9.99 shipping back through monetization or something.
I'm owed
Watch a few ads
$10.
for
Help
him.
me.
Well, anyways, everybody, we appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you're subscribing to Pro Football Newsroom's YouTube channel. We'll be definitely rolling out more consistently with ATU episodes. It's been frustrating, I'll be honest, guys. I had a couple interviews lined up, for my interview series of coaches that got fired. So I can't really do those episodes right now. So it kind of put us in a bit of a lull there.
you
for
could-
a
What
bit.
better
So,
time to talk to them?
yeah. But no, we'll be wrapping things up again over here, and yeah, I'm excited. So everybody, enjoy your holiday week. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving, and until next time, this was Around the UFL.
St. Louis sucks.